Hey friends, welcome back to Watavue Mountain. You guessed it, we're back at the mountain. You hear the echo, you know we're inside the mini cabin. So thanks for coming. We're absolutely blessed. We're gonna get after it today. I'm gonna kind of change it up a little bit on our intro, and we're just gonna get after it. So the task at hand today is we're putting in a panel box. So grab yourself something to drink, sit back, relax. Again, count your blessings, God is good. Let's get
busy.
Let's get to busy. Okay, so we got the Homeline Square D 100 amp circuit breaker from Schneider Electric. So let's rip the box open and let's see what's in this bad boy. There should be a couple of fuses and a couple other things. So the great thing about this box, let me talk about that in a minute. So yep, here's a couple of fuses or breakers. I think we got, I can't see them. Those are the 220 amp. With this box, you can either do flush mounting on the back, so you can put some screws through the wall into this hole and mount it through these four, or you can do side mounting. So all you got to do is find your spots. So there's these little punch outs right here. So you just got to get that, and then hold on, let me lay this down because it's gonna go flying if I try to do it. Tap that out. And I just get it started. Then use a pair of pliers. Well, then use a pair of pliers to just go ahead and twist that right off. So you just do that on all four in the corners, and then you're ready to install it. All right, so as you can see, I got it in here. Now ideally this would be flush with these 2x4s, but I don't know why. I mean, you can see back here is touching, and it's pushed back as far as it'll go, and it's not quite flush. The good thing is this is gonna be in a closet, and I'm not super worried about this. Well, I'm wrong. This is gonna be flush with the finished wall. So the finished wall will come to here. See, got to think on the fly. Anyhow, this thing fits in here tight as a tick. That's why I didn't show you me putting it in. I went to dry fit it, and it's tight. It's level, so it doesn't have to necessarily be perfectly level, but ideally it's going to be level. And then the screws that they provide are not your typical wood screws. So what we're going to use are these Simpson Strong Tie structural deck screws that I love so much. And because the head is big enough that it will cover that hole, and I don't need a washer. There you go, part one done. Now you might be asking yourself, wait a second, why is this on the bottom? And I think I mentioned it a little bit ago, but I'll tell you again, because we're gonna do something that you've never seen. You've seen some close stuff, but you haven't seen anything like this. The power though is gonna come from the bottom, from our source. Our source power is gonna come from the bottom, and we'll come into these lugs here. So that's why this is set up the way that it is on the bottom side down. And a majority, if not all, of our wires going out are going to go down. So they're going to go down, come out. Again, part of the reason we built elevated was so we could do all of our stuff underneath instead of running everything through the walls. So everything is going to go straight down and come out that way. So there you go. Okay, so down here at the bottom, instead of having the traditional holes, the punch outs, I mean, we still have one for the main line, but here what they've come up with, Schneider, is this quick grip system. So you can fit up to 3 14-2 wires or 2 12-2 wires, but you just snap this little piece of plastic off, and then your wire just sits right in there, and then it has that cover that comes over later, and we'll cover it from the outside. But you see, I mean, that just holds it right there. So once you get your wire to where you want it, you just pop it in place, and there you go, it's secure. So no more punch outs, no more protectors to keep it from rubbing on the punch outs. It's all part of the system. And this was not more expensive. This box was not more expensive than the one with the traditional punch out. So maybe look for that if it's something you're gonna do. All right, enough running my mouth. Let's run some wire, and we'll show you how to do this. Okay, we got all the wires run. As you can see, they're all coming up. Again, what I really like about this system is these little slots. So you just pull out the little piece of plastic in here, and then you slide the wire right in. So we have them all double marked. I have them marked up here so I know where they're going to, and then we have them marked down here so I don't forget where they're going to once I strip them. So now that we got all those in, all of the home runs are done. I'm gonna go ahead and strip these, and then we'll talk about what's next. All right, so I got all these stripped, and then as you can see, I kind of tucked them all back here in the corner, just to try to help keep it neat and clean while I go ahead and start putting all these in. So what we have here is a push-on neutral square D from Schneider. So all you have to do is, this has a little plastic clip there, you see? You slide that in the end right there, and then you push it on. That's it. Push on neutral, all right? And then this bar right here acts as our grounding bar and our neutral bar. So we don't have a separate separate grounding bar. We'll have to come back and I'll show you. I'm gonna insert a screw here that's gonna bond this all to the box and ground it out once we get our grounding rods in place. But of course, since we're at Watavue Mountain, I forget something every single time. So I forgot our grounding cable and our grounding wire. I mean, our grounding wire and our grounding rods. And then I'm also still waiting for the power source cable to come in. So that'll go here. Our neutral and hot will go there. And then, yeah, then we'll go from there. So back to this. So push on neutrals. And then in this, what we have is just one screw. It's a square drive. So square drive screwdriver. You just loosen that up, and you see that nice and loose, and then we'll slide that hot wire underneath there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take all these grounds and neutral wires, and I'm going to get them to where they need to be. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to keep that ground pressed against the side so it's nice and neat looking. I'll bring it to that. So I'm going to bring it right about there. So I'm just going to cut that off right there. Take my square drive. Unscrew that. Ground goes in there. And tighten it down. There you go. And then I'll do the same thing with this neutral. And it doesn't matter exactly where they go in this box because this is all bonded together. So if I wanted to run this neutral all the way up here, I could. There's just no reason to do that. So because we're here, I'll take it right about, cut it there. Run my wire strippers. So I set this to about 1/4 of an inch. So about 1/4 of an inch. I'll unscrew this one. Is that where I was at? I forgot where I was at. Bring that hot out of the way. No, I was at that one. Or this one. I was at this one. Good night. Slide that in there. Tighten it down. And then, like I said, I have those kind of pushed back in that corner. And then I'm just going to keep doing that. And then what I will do, I'll just show you while we're here. So for this hot, right, since all that's right there, I'll bring that hot over. What I got to do first, put my push on neutral there. Kind of get an idea of how long I want that. So right about there. So I want it just to the edge of that. So I'm going to cut that right there. Same thing with my wire strippers. Get my 1/4 inch. Pop that out. Like I said, now I'm going to back this out. So you see that's backed out. I'm going to slide that in there on the side. Clamp that down nice and tight, then pop it in. So there you go. First one is done. Now I'm just going to repeat that process with all these other wires. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the grounds and the neutrals now, and then I'll come back and do the rest of the fuses. So that's it. Pretty straightforward. But you got to keep in mind, remember now, if you're using indoor wire, you could probably save where you wrote on that sleeve. But because this outdoor wire, it just pulls apart. So we wrote on all these wires down below what's what. So as we get it wired up, we'll have Sean write on the fuse box cover what's what, so we don't lose track of which fuse goes to which part of the tiny house. Okay, so as you saw in the time lapse, all nice and neat. I got them all tucked in there, nice and organized. Again, the push on neutral, so the neutral and the grounds are the same. I did all just standard switches here, so there was no doubles or anything like that. I didn't do GFCIs or AFCIs. I have to look and see. Again, I'm not an electrician, so don't take my word for it, but my understanding is if I have a GFCI outlet in the line, I don't need a GFCI breaker. Now I could be wrong. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if I'm missing the mark on that. The great thing is this is easy enough to come back and fix. The other thing is, like I said, we don't have our power source coming in yet, and we don't have our ground wire. So I'm not going to seal this up, but I just wanted to show you. So these metal tabs just come right out. You just grab a pair of pliers, rock them back and forth, and they fold out. And then you just line that bad boy up, screw it on, and then as I went, Sean was kind enough to mark everything so we know which goes to what. So I did a 30 amp on the water heater, 20 amp on everything else, because we're running at 12-2 wire, so everything is rated for 20 amps. Now the other thing you might be asking yourself, like I did myself, I said self, how is it that I have 100 amp service? I'm gonna set this down. I have 100 amp service, but I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 120, 150 amps of circuit breakers, or more. As you can see, I can fit lots more in here, but it's only 100 amp service. Well, the answer is simple. It's because all these circuits aren't pulling this many amps at one time. I mean, if you go look at your house, your standard house, it's probably got 125 or 150 amps, but the same thing, it's probably got, 45, or you probably have a giant fuse box or switches in your house. So it's not designed for that necessarily. That's not a limiting factor. That doesn't mean I can only put 100 amps worth of breakers in here, if that makes any sense. So, all right, so that's all tidied up. Let me see what else we got to do here that we can do without the rest of our stuff. Okay, so the last thing, I guess, just to tidy up a little, right? These quick grips, I really like these a lot because you can just pop these in and out. I don't have to worry about sharp edges on the holes through the metal. But they come with these little covers, quick grip covers. And then I don't know if you can appreciate those. It's got those little kind of arrow looking things that, you know, you just match the arrows up with that, and then you just slide that, pop that in place. Now those are nice and secure in there. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. My arrows are going this way. I'm gonna slide that right there. Well, I made it look easy the first time, didn't I? Oh, I see, because I got to pop that out. Well, see, now we're learning together. Gotta slide that back a little because it's got a little thing underneath it. So there you go. Now all those wires are held in place just as good as new. And now when we come back and we get the power source coming in and the ground wire going out, I'm gonna I'll put a board across here, and then I'll secure all these wires to this board as well, just so there's no extra tension on any of these wires. But that's as far as we can get with that for today. So all right, there we go. So, as sometimes happens, I'm here at the house in suburbia editing the video, and we have so much more content. I think we're just going to break it off right here. So you saw the basics, how we installed the panel, how we ran the home runs, how we wired the panel. You're definitely going to have to stick around for part 2 because we're doing something extra special, and it takes me a really long time. That's why we're going to split this up to figure out how we can wire the panel to run just off of a generator, or more specifically off that EcoFlow Delta Pro. So stick around for that second part, because it took me a long time. It took me almost 3 months to figure it out, even with the help of YouTube. So yeah, so we hope you enjoy this series. Hopefully this was helpful for some of you to see how easy it is when you, especially if you don't have power. We had no live power coming in, so it really kind of made it simple and safe for us to go ahead and install this this panel box. So again, God is good. He's blessed us in more ways than one all the time. So thanks for coming. Thanks for checking us out. Of course, if you like this, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you know when we post new content. Look up this way over here. We're going to post a new video, probably something related to this mini cabin. We've been on a roll here lately. It's the holdup now is me editing. So again, thanks for being with us. Until next time, be safe. God bless.